What's it truly take to become an IFBB Pro Mr. Olympia? Well, for the next 24 hours, I'm going to find out, going over the training, the nutrition, and everything else that goes into creating a Mr. Olympia physique. You're Mr. Olympia, you got to start your day early because you got a lot to do. And I'm starting my day with a little black coffee, a natural thermogenic before heading to the gym for some fasted cardio. So the sun is barely coming up and I just made it to the gym. It's time to get my 30 minutes of low impact cardio in. Let's do it. A little over halfway done now, and as I'm doing this cardio, I'm just trying to get in the mind of the Olympians, and it's kind of a head trip to think that there could be possibly millions of people rooting for you, expecting you to win, and you know you have a certain amount of time to get ready for the show, to be on stage. First objective is off the list. Got the cardio done. Now it's time to head home to get my first meal of the day. Back from cardio now, it's time for the first meal, and this meal is going to be very simple, much like almost every meal bodybuilders have, especially when they're prepping for a competition. So we have eggs, we have oats, and we have protein powder. And that's really just keeping all the macronutrients. Got your fats, your carbs, and your proteins. But this is a relatively small meal. It's only a little over 600 calories, but it do have a pretty decent amount of protein, 64 grams of protein, 54 grams of carbohydrates, and around 14 grams of fat. Adding a little bit of the pumpkin in there for not only flavor, but some fiber in there as well. I'm just throwing it in the shake and downing it. And time to see if this is good or not. Ooh, that is actually really good. And the good thing is I only have 2 hours till my next meal. It is currently 9 a.m. and I'm already on to my second meal. It's gonna be around 200 grams of chicken, 200 grams of white rice, some shredded lettuce, and some very low calorie dressing. But all in all, this is a very light meal. It's only around 500 calories, 50 grams of protein, 60 grams of carbohydrates, and only around 6 or so grams of fat. So really just almost kind of like a snack in a way. But it's only been around 2 hours since breakfast. Breakfast was light as well, so I'm definitely ready for this food. Heading back to the gym. Now this is for a workout. Gonna hit some chest, triceps, some rear delts. Bodybuilding is interesting because it's really all about hypertrophy. It's how much you can build the muscle. Not necessarily about strength, not how much weight you can lift, but what your body looks like. So typically we'll see bodybuilders keep it very light, do higher repetitions, more volume, more sets, in very controlled tempo with what they do to really get that nice stimulus into the muscle, a full range of motion, slow, controlled. And that's really shown to work very well, increasing the size in the muscles. So this workout isn't gonna be super crazy heavy, super intense. There is gonna be some supersets, some trisets, keep the heart rate up and also kind of flush those muscles with blood, get that pump, you know, because really as a bodybuilder, it's all about the pump in the end. Ooh. Ooh. That's feel nice. It's all about that mind-muscle connection. You really want to feel those muscles working, and that's one thing I appreciate about the training in bodybuilding is that over time and with a lot of practice, you start to really be able to control your muscles and key in on which ones you really want to target. It just feels damn good. So moving on to some chest presses. You'll see a lot of bodybuilders use machines, and one of the great things about using machine is it's a very controlled movement. You know, with barbell, dumbbells, a lot of stability going on, which is great. But sometimes we were talking about earlier, getting that mind-muscle connection and targeting a certain muscle group that you're really trying to work on, in this case, chest. You're really gonna be able to do that because there's not really any stability. It's just one movement, and you can go heavier or go till failure and not worry about dropping the weights on yourself like you do with the barbell or maybe even possible dumbbells. So that's what machines are so great for. We got a tri-set of triceps. It's gonna be the JM press. Moving on to the machine dips, and then right on to the over the head cable tricep extensions. Boom, 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 3 exercises in a row. As you can tell, I'm still wearing the pump cover. Not quite sufficiently pumped enough. It's really baggy. It's like a parachute. That's all the rave now, right? I gotta fit in with the bodybuilder style. So I wore my baggy clothes today. I'll be taking off soon though. You just gotta get pumped enough. Bodybuilding is an interesting sport because you look at all the training, all the amount of work they do, and I would say it rivals pretty much any other sport out there. But when it comes to competition, you know, you don't really do anything other than pose. You know, it's only showcasing the muscle that you built. So it's kind of odd. It's hard to call it a sport in some ways, even though all the training, all the prep is just as intense, and maybe even more so than a lot of sports out there. But leading up to the competition, once the competition is, you're just standing on stage and posing, which can be very difficult, obviously, but it is an interesting concept for sure. But I definitely fell in love with the training of it. We're talking about the training, major part of bodybuilding, but another one is going to be posing. It's a lot more difficult than you think. I mean, a lot of those guys, as athletes naturally do, make it look easy. So we're going to go over some posing. Got to practice the posing. It's all about looking relaxed, even if you're completely tensed. Every single muscle of your body is flexed. So I'm gonna go through some poses here, and it's a really good post-workout workout. Ooh, there we go. Posing's done. Now it's time for another cardio session. 30 minutes of cardio. Here we go. I had to make an emergency run to the store because I realized I didn't have quite enough food, because food is a huge portion of being a bodybuilder. I mean, really, that's pretty much what you're doing all day is just eating. So I need to grab some meat, also some greens. Didn't quite have enough. You know, there's a very well-known famous bodybuilder named Jay Cutler. He said he spent $50,000 a year on food alone. That goes to show you how much they eat. So we got meal number 3 now, and I'm ready for it after that workout. It's a pretty simple one. It's really just ground turkey and steamed potatoes with a little sriracha for flavoring, and it's a smaller meal. It's only around 400 calories, 50 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbohydrates, and around 10 to 15 grams of fat. Really just trying to get those nutrients in and make it as simple as possible. All right, on to meal number 4 now. It's actually quite a bit of food, but it's only around 500 calories. I think it's 50 grams of carbohydrates, 40 grams of protein, and very minimal fat, maybe a few grams. But now I'm starting to get a better understanding of why bodybuilders carry around Tupperware wherever they go, because it's just consuming so much food so regularly. It just takes a long time to prepare all that food throughout the day. Of course, if you prepare it all ahead of time, it makes life a lot easier. But the one downfall of that is you're not eating fresh food. Of course, when it's cooked right now, it's warm, it's fresh, it's gonna taste delicious. And I'm ready to dig in. All right, we're on the final stretch, and it's the next portion, and that is the beautification process. I'm gonna shave, shower, and then tan. All done with the shaving part, and man, that took almost like an hour or something. It took forever, and now it looks like there's some wild animal living on our floor. So I'm gonna clean up, then shower, and then it's time to tan. So it's the final step of the beautification, and that is the tan. I recruited my girlfriend here to help me out get this hard to reach places, but it is a little odd when you look at bodybuilding. You know, you get all this training, this eating, it's, you know, you look at these guys lifting heavy weights, but in the end, they step on stage, it's kind of like a male beauty pageant. I mean, you gotta get all pretty, you gotta get on stage, and you're judged on how you look. And you gotta make me look pretty damn good.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to get you as absurdly tan as the guys on stage look, but yep. We'll try to. That's
true. We're gonna try. It's currently 7 p.m. and I am in my second to last meal of the day. About 2 hours ago, I had a protein shake, just 2 scoops of isolate protein with some water. Very simple, just get some extra protein in. Now, it's pretty much the same meal I had earlier in the day. It's just the tilapia, the rice, with some shredded lettuce and some light dressing there. So exact same macros, exact same calories, still very light, but the volume of this is pretty big. You know, I got the salad, got the rice. Even though it's not a lot of calories, it's very filling, which is pretty awesome. Especially with these guys, they're leaning out, they're getting shredded, they're getting ready for the show.
they're dropping those calories quite a bit to try to shed as much body fat as possible. So you do want to feel satiated throughout the day, eating every couple hours, also eating meals that have more volume in it, so that way you feel fuller per meal. Finally, on to the last meal of the day. It's just a small steak right before bed, and then heading to bed early. Got to get a lot of rest to recover from all that training, and start it all over again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and it keeps going and going and going, and that's what it takes.